One of the important things for Hughes in establishing our culture or across the globe is to have a very clear set of values that we can explain to people what we believe in and what we think is important to us and how we evaluate people, etc. So we've always, right from the time we were in a garage in Rockville, I think, been able to have a value system and communicate that value system to all our people. And it hasn't changed as we went from a small $100,000 company to a billion dollar company. And I really think that's important. And the values are nothing earth shattering, but they must be clearly explained to people and clearly stated. And for us, there are things like trust. We believe trust is a very important value. We need to trust each other. You can't constantly be questioning each other's motives or each other's reasons for doing something. You got to be able to accept at face value. If I tell you this is what I believe in or this is what I want to do and this is the reason why I want to do that, you got to be able to accept it. You can argue, and we are very vocal about saying in our meetings, our internal conferences sometimes get loud and people yell at each other, and outsiders are afraid we're going to kill each other. But no, and we can go out and then put our arm around each other and have a beer. But so it doesn't mean that if you trust me that you can't argue with me. And both are important values: trust, open communications, the ability for people to operate in an environment where there's no fear. Fear, I've always believed, is a very debilitating, kind of thing. If people are afraid to open their mouth or afraid to speak up or afraid to do something, it can be crippling to an organization. So operating openly, trusting each other, valuing innovation. Our company thrives on innovation. Without innovation, that we wouldn't be do. So we reward innovation. People understand that we don't penalize people if they innovate and fail. We encourage risk taking, intelligent risk taking. Which means that if everyone was successful at everything that person did, we're probably not taking enough risk, and we're probably not trying to do enough new things. And so these are like the four core values in our company. It haven't changed in 30 years. And every time we go to an international environment and start a new company and hire new people, or even internally when we do the orientation for new employees when they join us here in Maryland, we tend to emphasize these values. The second part of this, of having a set of values, is practicing it. It's easy for one to get on a soapbox and expound on these things because they're almost motherhood. Nobody can argue against these values, but you got to practice it, and that's when it becomes real. So how you promote people, how you give out your bonuses, how you transmit the message to your employees that these values are important, is very keenly watched, and that's a very critical part of the communication of the values. People believe that you're serious about these, then I think they will believe it and try to emulate it or follow it, etc. And then from a leadership perspective, we've always felt you got to lead from the front. I know that if I don't work, let's say on a Saturday, very few people are going to work on a Saturday. If I work on a Saturday, 15 people who work for me are going to be there, and then 220 people who work for those 15 are going to be there. So if you believe that at a certain stage you need hard work or there's a problem that needs to be solved, you have to lead from the front, and you can't ask anybody to do anything that you won't do yourself. So that's a very important part of our leadership element. We also think from a leadership perspective, the best people in your organization have to be promoted to be the leaders. And we're a technology-driven company, so most of our leaders tend to be some of our best engineers. Although they may not be doing I don't do technical work anymore, but the best of the best have to be the leaders, and they generally tend to be able to inspire people. The final test of leadership, of course, is can you make 2 + 2 = 5? If you've got 4 people in your in your branch, your department, or whatever, is the product, is the combined output of those 4 folks greater than what it would have been individually? And that's where the leader's skills as a manager come to the fore. How does he mentor them? How does he complement their weaknesses? How does he train them to improve on their strengths? And doing all that all the time creates a unit that can generate more than what they would have been generated with an ineffective leader. Morale is a very important part of any company, and leadership is important right from the first level to the highest level to maintain a high morale. There are ups and downs in any project or in any company. The ability to understand when there are downs and when you have to pat a guy on the back versus when you have to push him to do more, a very important element of a leader. Very few people realize that leadership doesn't just mean doing the same thing consistently all the time. You have to play different roles at different times. Your team depends on that. So those are some of the issues.